Not going to be able to see it. But we alluded to this a little bit earlier. And I think let's talk about what else are we looking for in week 18? We're not in the playoffs. The season is essentially over. We're bringing in Sam Howell for this. We still have injuries here and there. What are you looking for? Chase is back, the defense. Like a win against Dallas is paramount. Obviously, that would be amazing. But like going forward, what kind of implications does this game have kind of on our off season?
Who's saying a win against Dallas would be amazing? Yeah.
This guy.
No, draft matters now at this point.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
and if we need a quarterback, or we need to be able to have enough assets to get up if we want to get a quarterback. But and absolutely not Nathan. I'm sorry. No, Glennon, Simeon, get out of here.
Ridiculous.
Oh my!
Just like Jeff Jordan. That's why your application has been rejected.
There's a better chance of us getting Lamar Jackson next year in DC than getting Simeon as our quarterback.
Don't let that happen, Nate. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you bring that juju, I'll give you this juju.
Right.
But no, sorry. Back to your question. We need to play some guys that have been kind of buried on the depth chart. We need to figure some things out. Here you go, Sean. This is just going to turn into the Washington Tar Heels here, but we need to start De'Ami Brown. Yeah. I'm not saying we need to not play some of our guys, but especially if the game gets out of hand, if Dallas, pulls up, gets 10 points on us, we got to figure out what's going on with De'Ami, because in 2 years now, he has less than 10 catches. He has one memorable catch on the whole season. We got to figure out if we need to be drafting over this guy, and maybe having his guy back at quarterback is going to help him. And, Sam will have those trusts from college and just throw him the ball. We also could kind of look at Cole Turner. You and I were so excited for this guy in the preseason. Yeah. He just seemed to ball out in training camp. And then he's been, even once he came back from his injury, he's been nothing, he's been a huge disappointment. So we got to give him some playing time. The other guy I'd like to see out there in our secondary is our 4th round pick, Percy Butler. Yeah. We're going to kind of get into the offseason here earlier than we thought in January, but we saw a rise in year one and 2 from Derek Forrest. We're going to have to try and see that and hope to see that in Percy Butler, to be, an actual playmaker for us at safety. But I'd like to see him get on the field a little bit more. Because we want to get him some experience, because I don't think they're going to draft over him next year. And I think that safety position is kind of locked in, but he needs to get some experience. So some of these guys that we drafted later in that haven't gotten a lot of playing time, now's the time we need to give them a chance.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you mentioned this earlier about us bringing Chris Paul in there, bringing in that lineman. So I think that will definitely be something. Exactly. This is an evaluation game. This is to see who's still trying to play. We know there's nothing to really play for. So who's ready to make a name for themselves when given the opportunity? I mean, Danny Johnson is a name we've been talking about year in and year out, barely making it on. He's been making a couple plays. He's been getting burned also and missing tackles, but he's also been making a couple plays. And I mean, you see him, you got Reeves. These are great things to happen, because it's like, okay, this is some, you talk about depth. If we get somebody else that, that might be better to put ahead, but let's build that depth. Let's get these guys, acclimated with the system and ready to play. And that's kind of something I want to see. I want to see what we have as far as those secondaries, like you were talking about. The O-line, we know how many injuries and how we've struggled with that. I want to see a Chris Paul. I want to see these guys get out here. And, I mean, look, Cole Turner's another one. Put him in and let him do what we thought he was going to do.
Let him be Dallas Goedert.
Right. Let him run those seam routes. Let him sit here and run in motion and come out into the flat. Get the ball into his hands, and let's see him, give him the opportunity to play, because we need to, and I know injuries have played a factor in it, but he has not done anything to kind of separate himself from the pack. And we're not talking about, we're talking about an injured Logan Thomas who hasn't looked like himself. We're talking about Bates, and shout out to Bates, great blocker, and great hands. But we've said it's from the day he got drafted. He's not separated from anybody. You know what I mean? Cole Turner was supposed to be the guy that was going to take the top off the defense. So I want to see that. Let's see him do that more often so we can actually see what we have in this guy. So
Mm-hmm.
going into this offseason, we're like, okay, where do we really need to make moves? But by this point, I think they should already kind of have an idea of what moves they need to be making.
Yeah, I also think they should look into playing Christian Holmes more at corner.
Mm.
I mean, I think, excuse me, sorry, corner is one of those positions we have to draft early in the, in the April draft, whether it's first, second, third round. We have to draft an impact player because we can't go into next year if St. Jude's gets hurt again with playing a Danny Johnson. But it'd be good for us to see what is Christian Holmes. Can he be relied as a fourth corner, or do we need to be getting two corners in this draft and kind of developing that type of stuff?
Right, and I think we know St. Jude's talent, absolutely, but as we've said on many times before, the best ability is availability, and unfortunately, over the last 2 years, he just cannot stay on the field. So we've seen what a healthy guy can do in Curtis Samuel, him being out all last year, and we've seen the difference that he made being in there this year. And St. Jude's makes that very difference, and we know he was lined up against A.J. Brown that whole Eagles game. He's lined up against these solid receivers if he's in the ball game. So we need to make sure he's in there. And then, like you said, we can't be going to these other guys. So we need to then get somebody else. And we picked William Jackson III last time. So maybe we need to figure out what we're doing in scouting. You know what I mean? Bring somebody that's going to play with our system and not just, he's the best player on the board. Because what we're starting to understand is you don't necessarily have to have the best players if you have guys that fit the scheme and they're playing within the system. You know what I mean? Like, Chase has not been balling out in these last couple of games, but I have noticed that there have been times where you can notice he's playing in the scheme. He's running in his lane. And while he might be coming around the edge getting the sack, he's stepping back and deflecting the pass, which is shutting the play down. I can deal with that. I'm good with that because that's a team play right there. That's not I'm going to try to make my get my stats and whatnot. So yeah, let's see all these guys get in here and see.
You said it perfectly, Sean, because I started scouting corners already for the draft today, and there were a couple guys that Will Kramer really liked, but then me, I like my long arms, I like the big bodies corners, but they are like, this guy must play press man. This guy must play press man. I'm like, not us.
Not
we
us.
saw what happened
with
William Jackson. And I think one of them was Joey Porter Jr. And I was like, yes, I want this guy.
Right.
Nope. They say he would excel in press man defense. Like, crud. That's not Washington. So that's kind of just going to show, like, Nathan, I agree with you here. I don't love our safeties, but the coaches do.
Yeah.
And they may not see the need as much as we do. So I'm just hoping they see the need at corner and linebacker then.
Right. And look, and Nathan, with this one, Cole Turner could be like our Steven Alexander, Chris Cooley. I would love that. I would love that if they get him out on the edge like that, get him, with those little flare routes and those dig routes and things like that, or even up the seam, like Will was saying with Dallas Goedert. But A, he's got to be on the field for that, and B, when you're out there, you need to be doing your best to make a play. You need, any ball that comes your way, you need to be catching. Anytime you get an opportunity, even if it's just blocking, you need to be making sure that the coaches are seeing you out there, because one of the things about him is even when he has been in the game, if I don't look at like the stat sheet, you really don't really know. He's not doing anything that's catching your eye, and that's very frustrating.
He played more than 30 snaps on Sunday.
Yeah.
You didn't know that.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
One of the things that we talked about, one of my keys to victory in the Browns game was using our tight ends to help chip Myles Garrett. They actually did that. They did a lot. All of our three tight ends played a lot, and Cole Turner was one of them, but he made zero impact in the passing game.
Right. And that's a problem. Nicole said, do all college players get drafted? No.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like, 300, 400 players coming in the draft?
Right. And some of them guys get cut. Some of them guys, make it on practice squad. Some of them guys have to go to your area in the cold, go play in Canada, go play in arena leagues, other opportunities. XFL is now open for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, not all of them get drafted. Not all of them get drafted. And where is this one? The one I put up earlier. I should have taken the Maryland tight end.
Yeah.
We talked about it, Nate.
We did. Yeah, he's basically a glorified wide receiver playing inside. But yeah, no, he can have a career.
He can.
He's athletic.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.